Welcome to episode 4 of the More Than Capable Mompreneur podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a simple method that I use to boost my productivity as a working mompreneur. That's time blocking. I always get asked how I get it all done. I work a part-time job, I volunteer over 17 hours a week, I still care for my family, I run my business on the side, and now I host a podcast. I can get all of this done because I time block my schedule in a paper planner. It's a method I started using about 3 years ago, and let me tell you, it's been a game changer. No matter what the things are that we have to do at home, at work, or in our business, we have to control what we spend our time on, or we never get anything completed and we feel unproductive at the end of the day. So in this episode, I'm going to explain what time blocking is, how it actually increases your productivity, and give you some tips so you can give it a try. I want you to feel like you're making forward progress whether you're working on personal tasks or business tasks. And I promise that you can start to see results in about a week and you won't feel overwhelmed by the process. So grab a pen and paper and let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, mama. Are you burned out from working, running a business, and raising a family? I know it's hard and there's no manual to help you get it all done without the mom guilt. I've been where you are, and I want us to navigate this journey together. I'm Shannon Baker, your coffee-loving host, and I'd like to welcome you to the More Than Capable Mompreneur podcast. We're part of a new wave of working women that focus on fulfilling our purpose and raising our families before profit. It's time we stop letting fear hold us back and accept that we are enough and we do enough. This podcast will feature interviews, trainings, practical lifestyle tips and strategies you can implement in the mom cracks of time so you can take care of the necessary things and grow your business without burning out. So grab your cup of coffee, your favorite sparkling water, or pour a glass of your favorite wine, and let's get on with the show because we are more than capable mompreneurs. 24 hours. That's all you're going to get every day. No more, no less. Even the most organized person can have a hard time trying to complete a to-do list. Not to mention, the list never stops growing, right? And these days, I know you're juggling more than ever because at the time that this episode airs, we're under quarantine or stay-at-home orders because of the coronavirus or COVID-19. But no matter what's going on in our world now or in the future, we always have things that we have to get done, so time management is always going to be important. But what if I told you you can get more done in a day without stressing yourself out and without that never-ending to-do list? It is definitely possible. You know, some of the things I constantly hear mompreneurs say and see them posting online is they don't have time to get things done at home and in their business. They're picking one over the other instead of working on both. That's why time blocking is the key to success. So let's start by talking about what time blocking is. It's the process of blocking out specific times in specific days for specific tasks. Simply put, it's a way to train yourself to be more productive by doing less. No to-do list is needed, and it works. Time blocking is based loosely on the principle of Parkinson's law, that work will simply expand to fill the time available for its completion. Basically, that means that if you give yourself too much time to complete a task that should take, say, 2 hours, then the task gets more complex and it fills up that time. The funny thing is, the extra time isn't necessarily filled with more work, but it's filled with stress and tension because you know you have to get it done. So if you assign the right amount of time to a task, you actually gain more time and the task remains simple. That's why time blocking is so much better than a to-do list. If you take a moment and really think about all the things that you have on your list already, the number of things you're probably going to add later today, tomorrow, or in the days to come, do you ever really cross off enough to feel like you've accomplished something? I don't think so. Not to mention, you end up overcommitting because something on your list is not on your calendar. And because that list just keeps getting longer and longer and longer, you never feel like you're getting out from under it or feeling like you're accomplishing anything. And let me tell you, I am the queen of lists. My husband will vouch for that. But there was a point about 3 years ago that my list just overwhelmed me. I found I was busy every day, and at the end of the day, I didn't feel like anything was accomplished. I was actually wondering, where did the day go? And let me tell you, I need to see that things are getting done, or I become very tense and stressed out, and my family wants to head for the hills. Does that sound familiar to you? So what did I do? I decided I needed to try something new, and I was online and I found time blocking for the first time. So after doing some research, being the paper junkie that I am, I decided I needed a new paper planner, and that's when I purchased my first Passion Planner. Then I binged watched YouTube videos to see how other small business owners were using it, and then I dove in headfirst. Right away, I saw a huge boost in my productivity, and instead of trying to stretch time to fit in a bunch of tasks, I prioritized the tasks to fit into the time I had available. Then at the end of the day, I felt like I had accomplished something because I could visually see what I had completed thanks to the little check marks in my planner. Now, I have a confession to make. At first, I didn't exactly stick to my time blocks, but throughout the day, I was at least aware of what I was supposed to be doing, and that motivated me to keep trying and to make adjustments so that I could at least cross one thing off of my list for the day. Now, keep in mind, I don't assign more than 3 tasks to a day, or I can never get it done. Time blocking is not meant to be a tedious task that takes up a lot of your time either. The purpose of organizing your schedule this way is to actually free up your time and make things easier for you. So, what can you do to get started? First, you need to write out how many valuable hours you have every week, and then break that down into every day. So, write down the time that you get up in the morning and the time that you go to bed. Then write out how many hours you work in your 9 to 5, or if you have a part-time job outside of the house, write those hours down as well. Then write out how many hours every week you want to spend with your husband, with your children, working on your business, on self-care, or anything else that you need to do. For me, that translates into 15 hours a day that I have to work with, totaling 105 hours a week. I work my part-time job 24 to 30 hours, 17 to 20 hours is my volunteer work, and then I have to break down what's left to take care of my other priorities, which are my family and my business. Now keep in mind, daily time blocks can vary, and outside of the time blocks that I have for my job, I do batch tasks, and I limit my time blocks to 2 to 4 hour increments. That's how I work best. This helps me stay focused so I can accomplish more. And here's the key. I'm not multitasking. Now, once you have your week blocked off, you can start breaking these tasks down into bite-sized chunks and assign them to your time blocks. Here's a quick example. Say you've decided that you want to limit the time you spend in your inbox to 90 minutes a day. You can break that down into smaller intervals like 3 30-minute time periods. So you set a timer for 30 minutes each period. You sort and flag any emails that you have received into 2 folders, one for follow-up and one for emails that you need to take action on. Be sure to flag the emails that require immediate attention, but don't take any action yet. But if you come across an email that you can respond to in 2 minutes or less, go ahead and take care of it. Templates will actually help you do that. But in any case, if it requires more than 2 minutes, move it to one of the folders for another email time block. You just repeat this process every email period that you've blocked out in your calendar. Here's another example. We know social media marketing can really be a time suck. Now, I'm not a social media manager, but I always hear people say they don't have time for social media marketing. Actually, none of us really do, but we have to make the time because we need it for our business to grow. So here's how I break down my time. I schedule 3 20-minute sessions on my calendar, and I assign specific tasks to those time blocks. And in those time blocks, I'm focusing on Instagram and Facebook. In each time period, I spend about 5 to 10 minutes responding to comments that have been left since the last time I checked in. Then I spend about 10 minutes or so leaving engaging comments on posts that I like. I look at stories, I respond, and I take the time to be helpful inside of other people's Facebook groups. I have a list of specific tasks that I want to complete each period. So I rotate through Facebook groups each day, including my own, so that I'm active and consistent. And this has helped me make some genuine connections and grow my community online. Now you might be wondering, how do you pick and assign tasks to your time blocks? Well, this process actually starts with whatever your goal is for the next 90 days. Not to mention it takes about 90 days for you to create a new habit. Now, if you need help picking a goal and creating an action plan so you can start time blocking your schedule, grab a copy of my 90-day goal worksheets from my online vault. I'm going to drop a link to that in the show notes. Here's how that breaks things down for you. You pick one goal for 90 days. There are sheets for you to do 30-day planning. Break that down into weekly tasks and then daily tasks. You assign 3 tasks per day, preferably things that are associated with each other. Then you finish one before you move to the next. This helps you gain momentum to keep moving forward. Remember, no multitasking allowed. And here's another tip. Identify the time of day that you are most creative and when you're least creative. When you're most creative, use that time period to work on content creation for things like your social media posts, blog posts, podcast episodes, things like that. And when you're least creative, take care of those necessary tasks that you don't enjoy, like sorting your receipts, responding to emails, checking social media stats, all those things you want to delegate, but maybe you're not in a position to do so yet. I know I'm most creative in the morning up until about 11 a.m. So that's when I work on creative tasks. I leave all the administrative and not so fun stuff for the afternoon and into the evening. And if you're a night owl, that's okay. Just do what works for you. This is all about time blocking your schedule to fit your lifestyle. The key to success is to be flexible and to have good communication with your family and your customers so you can stick to your time blocks as much as possible. Here's an example for you. Last year, my aunt had major surgery and I was driving her back and forth to her checkup appointments. We thought the appointment would take about 2 hours and I had a call scheduled with a client for that afternoon. But that 2 hours turned into half the day. So I immediately notified the customer that I was not going to be able to make the call and I explained to her why. Then I offered to reschedule the call for later that evening, which by the way was outside of my normal business hours, but I needed to be flexible because I needed the call to change. She was totally understanding and the call happened as planned later that evening. So be sure that you don't jam-pack your schedule with work back-to-back either. And please remember to build in time for you to eat and take mini breaks so that you can get up and stretch. Now back to that matter of communicating. You also need to communicate with your family. Let them know your schedule. If you have to, for now, post a piece of paper with your working hours outside of your office or in your work area if you need to. You're still working even though you're working at home, so you have to train your family to respect that. Now, I know this is a lot easier when you have older kids like I do. I mean, my daughter's 16, so she knows to knock before she enters my office. But no matter what age your kids are, always remember to give yourself some grace, meaning don't be so hard on yourself for the things you didn't get done. The great thing about time blocking is you know where you left off when you stop. So if you don't finish the task one day, you can pick it up the next. Remember, we're working based on priorities, not to-do lists. So less is more. Now, one thing you can do to help you stay in the zone when you're working is eliminate the distractions. You need to turn off all notifications, email, social media, whatever the case may be. Close that email app on your computer and put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Remember that time blocking is not supposed to take up a lot of your time, but it's to help you maximize the time that you have and make things more manageable for you. So, test it out and give yourself time to get used to this new method, about 90 days. I'm going into my 4th year and I still have to make adjustments, but it's a lot easier for me to move tasks around because of batching and time blocking. Now, once you get the hang of it, I guarantee you're going to love it and you'll be able to get so much more done in the time that you have available, and you will not be stressed out by it. So here's a recap of today's episode. Time blocking is to help you maximize the time you have available and make things easier for you, so it shouldn't take up a lot of your time to get it done. Determine the number of hours that you have available each week. Allocate the time required for your non-negotiables like your job, being a mom, being a wife, time for yourself, and time for your business. Then, based on your 90-day goal and your action plan, break the tasks down into bite-sized chunks and assign them to your time blocks. But no more than 3 tasks should be assigned to one day so you don't get overwhelmed. Identify the time of day that you're most creative and when you're least creative, and assign your tasks accordingly so you can be most productive. Do not forget to be flexible because life happens, and don't jam-pack your schedule with work back to back. That includes client calls. Remember to build in time to eat and stretch, and eliminate distractions by turning off notifications, putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, and communicate your schedule with your family and your clients. And if your schedule has to change and it impacts your clients, notify them as soon as possible. Now, here's the most important one. It will take time for you to get used to arranging your day this way. So give yourself time to get used to it. What's the number I suggested? 90 days. Oh, and don't forget to celebrate the small wins every day that you complete your task. Even if it's just one task, celebrate, mama. That's it. And I hope this helps you increase your productivity, and more importantly, that it helps you gain the momentum you desire, even if it happens in small increments. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode. You can find a link to the download that I mentioned in the show notes. If you enjoyed listening to the show, be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast platform. If you learned something new in today's episode, please let me know. Take a screenshot, post it in Instagram stories, and tag me at _Shannon Baker. And remember, you are enough and you do enough. Until the next time, keep calm and streamline.